Omnisphere 3 is definitely the most popular synth on the market right now, but the best way to really learn about it is to use it and sound design with it. If you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorks Beats.com, and I've sound designed for some top producers, including Rodney Jerkins and other top producers out there. And Omnisphere was one of those tools. So let's switch over into FL Studio and let's go over to Omnisphere. Now, Omnisphere can do a lot, and it's kind of like it seems simple until you get really deep into Omnisphere. So firstly, let's click here. Let's go to initialize patch. Should get a sawtooth, which is your most basic starting point. Now what I'm going to do is add a filter. So the first thing I do is go to the main tab, switch the signal path to independent. Let's go to layer A. Let's turn on the filter. So now only this filter will affect layer A. It won't be shared across the layers here. So by default, it has more of a brassy filter movement, meaning the attack is higher and it has a decay curvature to it. So I like this tone. I just want it to be a little bit wider. Let's go to where it says pan. Let's go to where it says pan, right click, modulate this. We're going to modulate this either by random, which would be cool. I want something that's probably like a moving element, like an LFO. So let's do an LFO. And let's pull the target all the way back, source all the way up so we have a full range. And let's set the shape here to be a random shape. So basically, it gives me motion as the sound's playing, not just static values that are random. So now the sound moves around and it feels more alive. And we can slow down the speed of this. So let's say it's a little too wide in range. We can pull the source back and just pull the range, just doing this by ear. Pull the source. So now it's moving around. It's not just a static sound. Okay, and what else can we do? We can add some unison to thicken out the sound here. So let's add unison and pull up the depth to add more voices. Usually 7 voices is the kind of like sweet spot. So I'm visualizing off this grid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have about 6 voices on here. We have a nice wide sound here. You got to be careful with unison because you can overly widen things and then it just becomes softer. So I think so far we've had a pretty decent sound. Only thing I want to do though is maybe switch up the speed of the panning so that it moves around faster. Okay, so now it's a little more, just moves a little bit more. Also too, on the main tab, I love that they have quick access buttons. Like we could just quickly add a reverb, just like that. We can add, where's the one? The limiter. And we can also add an envelope and mess with that. And vibrato, here's what. So I love how they have this like quick panel. We could up the octave here. All right, let's go back to the sound here and let's focus on the transpose. Let's right click and let me see if we can right click and modulate the coarse. Now in Serum, we can actually modulate the octave transposition, which creates this like step octave jump. That sounds really dope. I think to do this in Omnisphere, I don't know if there's a direct way to do that same exact thing without using automation. Now we're going to go to the sound source itself. Click here. We're going to go to classic waveforms. Let's go to sawtooth and let's start right at the top. I'm also going to mess with these filter types. So there are new filter types. We can also go back to legacy filter types if you guys like the legacy sound. Just going to arrow through some of these. Now here's another secret, the saturation. I used to overlook this button so much. This is good for when you guys have a bass sound that's filtered, but it lost some of its edge. You can pull the saturation to add more of that bite back. Let me go back to the main tab, turn off the ambience. So now we have this. Pull that back to 0. So now the sound is full. It's not like just filtered away. So for example, here's without the saturation. Sounds kind of like weightless when you have that saturation. It brings that weight back. I don't usually mess with all of these different waveform manipulations. Let's go to oscillator B. Let's switch this to a square wave. Let's go classic. Let's go square wave. Let's do some kind of OBX, Oberheim. Let's turn on oscillator B. Now this I want to be 1 octave higher, so let's go to transpose. Let's go to plus 12 semitones. Now this one I'm not going to give a filter, but I do want to give it a decay curvature. So if I turn this off, okay, it has a very... All right, so that's that. And let's give this a little more detail. Let's go to the effects. Let's go to sound layer B. Let's give this more movement. So here I'm going to use delay to thicken out this kind of hollowed out sound. And let's pull the mix level back. I like drift on this delay. It adds a pitch bend. It goes like that. And let's up the feedback and separate. So we have to switch the mode here. Instead of link to left and right, we're going to go to left and right, left to right. And let's switch the time here between the left ear and the right ear. So these are not tempo synced. And I like to have the left really fast and the right kind of strange values. And we can also modulate this. Let's modulate it by the velocity. And just have this kind of be based on the velocity. Let's pull up the start value. There we go. Let's give this like a pseudo dimension here. Let's give it some reverb. And let's give it a velvet verb. And let's pull the decay back. Switch the mode here to room. Just trying out different sounds here. I like room 3. Let's blend this in. Now I'm going to switch the order of plugins so the reverb gets delayed through the delay. So now it has this like spring reverb sound. Let's do something cooler here. Let's see what we can do here in terms of, let's switch out the actual square tone. I might want to go up 1 more octave here. So we basically created like a pseudo chorus, a pseudo flanger, and a room reverb to give this like a dimension. Still wanted to have like a quirky sound here. Let's start messing with, now here's what makes Omnisphere super unique, the effects. Like this is the most obvious thing that separates Omnisphere from everything else. Let's first go to dynamics. I want to squash this with a multiband to pull up the tones. And then from here, I want to go through probably a creative effect. I forgot the name of the one that adds like a color. Man, I forgot the name. I think it's under color, vintage enhancer, or is it noisemaker? One of these, I forgot. One of these is inner space. This is so this, I think it's like a convolution reverb, if I'm not mistaken. And it multiplies your sound through a sample. That's what I assume it's doing. I could be way off as to what it's actually doing. So let's keep this at 100% so we could hear the actual tone. And let's switch these to, so again, I have no idea what this is actually doing. So that's a long sample. Yeah, I think it's convolution because it tends to ride the nonlinear reverb. So I think fire is making it long. Let's do more of a transient shape. Just gonna arrow through some of these. guys gotta be careful with convolution reverb because it can get loud. See how loud that got? Let's pull this back down. It's a little bright to my ear, so I don't want to use that scrape. I'm gonna add a filter here. And let's give this filter an envelope. Let's make it more of a brassy tone. Let's add some unison in here. Might go back down a couple octaves so we can get some of the tones. Now, one thing I'm going to pull back on is the reverb. All right, so the inner space is cool. It's a little heavy. I might use a different effect depending on what we do with the sound here. So I'm going to keep going back and forth with that. Let's do unison. Let's offset this delay by panning the sound to the left. And one more thing here, we're going to pull up the sustain. So we get a really unique sound here. Now let's open up the other. Now we get this really full sound here. Now it's very muddy because we're starting to stack similar octaves. That's why initially I had this up 12. So we'll see which one sounds cooler. Let me try this. Kind of like it up an octave. Just depends on what we play on the keyboard. Also, too, we got to watch the levels so that they're not clipping. So that was a lot of motion. Let's go to the aux channel. Now this, I don't remember setting this to, oh, that was the knob on the front. Set that for us. So on the aux, let's add more detail. Usually I add either reverb or delay. Trying to think what I want to add here. Let's do Skyverb. I don't even know what this is. And let's send both layers using the aux send, using the common tab over to the Skyverb. And what I want to do is heavily compress that reverb and just turn the amount of send down. So right now I think it's just too many voices. Let's turn off unison. All right, so it's definitely layer B. It's adding a little too much mud. I think we're just too low of an octave here. Now we gotta add that. All right, so one more thing is we're gonna set the max value for the envelopes so it's not super bright. So now it's just questioning which octave. Okay, that was the main octave, no wonder. I wonder why it sounded weird. So now it's gotta figure out where that square fits in. I just like it at 0, but it gets a little muddy, so there's a trade-off here. Now I'm trying to decide which one's gonna be the brighter tone. The sawtooth sounds better, brighter. Let me take off this reverb. I think we just need a different tone. All right, so I built the square to be super high pitched, and I think, oh wait, can we do, here's what we could do. Let's do quad zone. I forgot we had this. Turn on quad zone. So basically my conundrum is I want the square wave, but it's too in the way, I guess. So what I'm going to do is separate this by the actual key zone. So let's say I want the square wave to only appear when I start playing these high notes, like C5, for example. We're going to drag the bottom left here. This is unique to Omnisphere as well, this quad zone. Now we do have something similar in Serum that allows you key mapping, but this can do fader and velocity mapping, not just key mapping. So basically this square will only trigger when we have, where's our sound here? And also too, we can pull the square back down so we don't have to transpose the octave. So this basically cleans up a lot of that mud when they were overlapping in sounds. Let's go back to the quad zone. So you won't be able to hear it until I play this top octave. And I could actually have it the opposite, where the sawtooth doesn't even play. All right, so with these quad zones, this allows us to, voice these chords without them overlapping. And then when we want to go melodic, but let's say it's too thin, I can overlap these just by an octave or two, or however much you guys want. And I can create a crossfade in the top right, I believe. If you left click, how do we do this? Man, I used to know how to do this. Let me pause this. Oh, here we go. So you have to grab the top left or top right, create a crossfade. So basically it's turning down the volume as we go higher and higher. So it's not turning off the sound, it's just turning it down. That might be too aggressive. So there's no way to create curvature for this. So this is why I just recommend you guys focus on the octave of it all. It's a little difficult to grab these points, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But let's just pull the range to somewhere. I think we have to adjust the fade first. This makes the most sense. Let's overlap it just by one octave, just by grabbing this. Again, it's a little difficult to grab these sometimes. And then fade this like that. So now it's not completely not a saw, but it's also allowing room for that square. So that's a way to blend octaves. Now I just like to turn the volume up. Once we're done, we could save this patch as. I'd recommend you guys save to a folder. Keep everything organized in folders. So let's call it YouTube free. I don't know, November 2025. And call this some kind of pad, brass, liquid. Now here's interesting. They tell you to add one attribute. Let's do author. I think I'm already an author. So you want to write your name here, your website here, busyworksbeats.com, and then any notes you guys want. Let's save this. Now, if you were to publish, a library, the reason you have stuff in folders, so man, can I speak? The reason that you have sounds within folders is because when you go to produce a library, you have to hit Alt on your keyboard, hit this drop down, go to Publish Library. Now, it doesn't know, you have to create a folder inside of another folder, which I'll get into in a different video, so that it knows to collect all of the sounds and export it as a library. So that's a lot of words, but yeah, it's a little bit of a process to export libraries. So I'll make a different video about that. So now let's take this sound and let's spin off. So here's what I love about Omnisphere. They make that process, because this is sound design. We've, grabbed a bunch of parameters we like, and now we're just kind of shaping the sound and just adding effects that we want. Now, some of the things I want to change is just remove the modulation over the pan value here. I want this to just be normal. How do we reset? Okay, boom. And let's reset this panning as well. There we go. So I like this tone. This is a little bit more bitey. So let's save this patch as. All we did was just remove some of that stuff. Save it as. Now let's get a little more granular here. Let's go to A, and let's go back to our user directory. And inside that folder that we had, YouTube free, let's pick a preset. And let's click where it says mutate. So now it's creating a whole different sound without us having to go through and swap out and go through thousands of samples. Now we're just using our ear to say, does this sound good? Does it sound bad? We already have all the modulation set up and all the effects. It sounds really dope to me. Actually sounds crazy good. So let's save this, patch as, and just like that, we have a new preset. Now it's going to direct you to the mutations folder. So here's where you got to figure out where your user patches are. I don't have time to explain everything about Omnisphere and the folders of everything. So let's just save this in our normal thing. Let's call this 3. All right, save it as, and let's, yeah, we'll give credit to mutations. And I forgot to put the website. So let's go to save patch as one more time. Click on that. And the only thing here, we need to add that website. EasyWorksBeats.com. Boom. Save that thing. Now we can mutate this even further. So we have the kind of triangle wave sound covered. I kind of like that tone, but it would need more of a filter structure to it. Let's add some resonance in here. Maybe drop this down an octave to create like a bass. It didn't hit the way I expected it to hit, so we're just gonna ditch that one. But I did like the idea. Again, we want to get away from this triangle. This one's a little heavy. Again, a sawtooth is a sawtooth. All right, now let's do what's called mutate extreme. Okay, so this is going to give us a very different sound, but in the same likeness. Let's do it again. Now we're in a whole different realm of sound at this point. So all we're truly doing is just swapping out the samples underneath. Again, it keeps the same structure of effects and everything. Let's turn multi-band on. Let's turn off this reverb for a second. So extreme is really extreme. The way we can kind of monitor this is go to main, go to layers. So I like this. There's one sound. I can't tell which one it is. I want to say it's this one. Yeah, disperse bits. I got to figure out what that like sound is. I think it's that one. So this is a cool sound once we turn those layers off. I want these to have more reverb. Let's open up the reverb again. To have more modulation to the reverb, and let's switch the tone to a brighter tone. And clouds, I don't know what this means. Let's see what that means. Let's do clean. I think this is like a granular reverb. It definitely is. And let's pull the amount back. It's a pretty decent sound. Let me kind of solo. All right, so this one isn't even triggering. Let's figure out why B is not making a sound. I don't know why. Maybe it's a sample. It was on layer B. So I'm trying to figure out why B isn't making any noise. Could be a glitch. I think it's a glitch. Oh, duh. Forgot we did the quad zone for it, so that's why my brain wasn't. All right, so that makes sense. Now again, we don't have to just accept the high tones. We could also pull them down an octave. Let's reset that panning. kind of like this tone. It's got to play. Here's what I'll do. I'll pull the quad zone back because this tone I want to hear all of the way through. I don't think these clash as much as the other sound clashed. So to drag these zones, you have to click inside the rectangle. I was clicking outside of the rectangle. Now, one of these sounds like it has multiple tones. Okay, this is playing a whole chord. How did I not hear that? That's a cool chord, but doesn't match with this vibe. I do like it though. And now we just gotta kind of reverse engineer some of these effects that we've added. So also add this duck feature so that the delay does not kick in until after the sound dies out. Still a little dark of a tone. Let's brighten up these sounds pretty cool. So we just got to pull this delay back. The delay is trying to be the main show here. It still is like, it's just this sample. So now I'm just clicking through, trying to find a neighboring tone. I can click inside the sample oscillator and also go through different filters. I can hit shuffle. Sounds kind of dope. Even the name's fire. Let's go to effects. Let's go to common and let's add some more compression on here because I can't really hear. Like something off by like a hair. Let's go back to this unison. On the main tab, let's make this mono mode. Let's go solo. Man, it's like I like this, but it needs to be like, let's give it a decay curvature. And also too, I'm gonna tune this by ear. Cause like, it's like, ow. All right, let's add oscillator C. See how deep we can go. Like we're just in the woods at this point. Let's add some kind of organic stomp or hit. It's hard to hear these, so we're gonna turn off oscillator B and C. Or A and B, I mean. And I just need an impact like this. Just so it goes underneath. And then we're gonna use that reverb to elongate this. Now the one thing I'd want to prevent is super low notes. But I guess it doesn't matter. All right, let's work on this sound on A. It's a very bitey sound because we have the saturator. Now I think when you add B, that's just too low of an octave, so I think it's an octave thing at this point. So what I might do is drop A down a couple octaves. So it matches the tone a little bit better. Add some unison and just some more harmonic activity in here to add more frequencies. It's really hard to hear though, so. So I'm just gonna kind of work a little bit faster here, y'all. Let's add plus 19, it's a melodic note. We have plus 7 and let's do plus 24. Can't hear these though. Oh, the filter's on. So here's before. Here's after. So we're adding all this frequency content underneath the filter. And I want this to do like some kind of chorusy wobble to the left. So we're gonna modulate this. Something like that, or we could do, that's too fast. I also want this to have like a left-right kind of sloppy LFO. Let's do an LFO, let's do very fast speed here. I'll just keep it on the sine wave for now. All right, let's unlock these. So now we're getting tone mismatches, so I'm gonna turn off some of these. I don't want to spend too much time on the sound because it's so specific of a sound. Let's try also too the octaves here. Let me figure out what that. All right, so it's this one. I think I've matched them a little bit better, but again, we could sit here all day try to get that perfect. Might have to give up on that layer B. Suck it up. Make a different sound here. Now C, we're gonna have to get rid of because this is. So this seems like it's playing a chord. These match a little bit better. I tried the whole impact thing. It just wasn't hitting the way I expected. It's pretty dope. You can't do this stuff in Serum. All right, so the only thing I'm missing here is like the brightness. Okay, that's why I forgot we did this. A lot of movements here. Like this tone, I just want hold down an octave. There we go. Now we got to where we're trying to go. Long road to get there, but we got there. All right, let's save this. And again, we need to go back to our patches folder, go to user, save it in here. Let's do version 4. That one took a while. How long is this video? I might make one more sound. We don't want to make this video like an hour long. It just eats too much time. But as you guys can see, Omnisphere is different. This is a different level of detail. But you're not gonna get that in Serum. All right, so let's go through our presets that we made so far as a final frontier for today. Let's get a user. Boom. So some people may consider the reverb a little heavy. I don't remember what the difference of the sound is. Oh, you know what it was? The octave. Now in this sound, I like the tone, but it's a little bitey towards the low end. So what I'm going to do is modulate by velocity the envelope amount, meaning the harder I hit, the more open it's going to sound. That way we can control some of the... There we go. And I'll save this as a variation as well. It's like that. Boom. Oh, I didn't save that one. Let's do that again. Save. Version 5. Boom. Save. All right, that's that. There's really different sounds here. This one's probably my favorite of all of them. Very Drake-ish. Very in that Drake bag. I can hear Travis Scott depending on how you make that melody. So we're not going to make this video 1,000 years long, but sound designing in Omnisphere is a very unique process. And you can, as you develop the sound, you can go deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole to take it even further. So we only touched the surface here, but I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys want a chance to win Omnisphere 3, we're doing an Omnisphere 3 giveaway at busyworksbeats.com/Omnisphere. We're going to give away the, we're going to choose a winner live November 15th. So be sure to hop on November 15th, 2025, that is, if you're watching this in the future. So just go to busyworksbeats.com/Omnisphere. You can enter for free. You're going to get 3 analog lab banks for free for R&B, hip hop, and trap. Or no, sorry, R&B, trap, and electronic. And you're going to get 2 Omnisphere banks, 1 for electronic, 1's for trap. All right, so go to busyworksbeats.com/Omnisphere to claim you guys' gifts. Peace.